What's going on, everybody? Welcome to podcast 125. This is part 2 of the part 1 that was recorded on last week, podcast 124. We're finishing up the top 10 things that we recommend to get an ideal client. It's super interesting. We go a little bit more deeper into different things, so I'm sure you're going to really like that. Listen, I have a new podcast coming out at the beginning of the year for Dent Trainer. It is strictly about PDR training, tools, techniques, things like that. Going back old school and keeping it really niche. So it will be geared towards everybody generally, but a lot of beginner stuff. And also Mario will be hosting this podcast as well. A lot of them will be in English, some will be in Spanish or vice versa. So stay tuned for that. So now we're getting into podcast 125. I don't want to go too deep. This is pre-recorded. So if you happen to comment and we don't respond, I just wanted to let you know that, but we do appreciate you commenting. Just it's getting towards the end of the year, so we don't have a lot of time to do live videos. So we just rather just pre-record it for right now, let you guys watch live, and then it goes out to the normal podcast tomorrow. We appreciate you guys' support. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah to everybody. Hope you guys stay safe, and we'll talk to you guys later on. Thanks for watching and listening.
This one's kind of a long one. Stop thinking there is a going rate. There is no going rate. There's just you and a bunch of desperate dent guys in your market. Somebody has got to stop the madness and stop focusing on price and start focusing on serving the client in the best possible way, in your unique way of doing it.
So very similar to what I just said, right?
It is. It really is, actually. Now that I read it, I realized it's about value. You know, there's no going rate. I mean, we used to all think this, man. You know, back in the day, in the 90s, in the 2000s, I'd get this call about until probably 2010. I would get these calls daily, and I didn't even advertise. And I really didn't advertise, not just paid advertisement, but social media, none of that. I didn't have a website or anything. It was all word of mouth for me because I was doing a lot of dealership work at the time. And those of you guys who do dealers, you get word of mouth clients, which is great, but it's not always great because you get these people calling you out of the blue saying, how much? And back then it wasn't all this mindset stuff that we're talking about. It was me just like a caveman saying my minimum is $75, right? And the first thing the person on the other end of the line would say is, well, the other guy charges 40. There was this magic number in my area. I don't know if it was just one guy or if it was a lot of dent guys charging $40. It was like the going rate, and it used to just crush me, man. It used to just destroy me. I didn't know how to process it. And I've since realized like that was not a going rate. That was just garbage in the air, really. It was somebody trying to cut me down to size, cut me down to cheap labor. There is no going rate because there's only you and the person that is calling you. Again, whether they're on the phone or on your, your text, or if they're right in front of you, there's no other dent guy.
I think they really need to anybody needs to really deep think about why are they charging themselves so low? Why are they devaluing their own company that they work so hard for, right? Joe, you and I were talking about the building blocks of how to build value to your company. And if you want to start that way, you want to look like why you're doing what you're doing and why you want to build value. Well, go back and think about, let's take a trip backwards. Okay. Think about the struggle that it took you to get to this point. Think about all the sacrifices and the time and the disappointment that you worked on dents and didn't get paid. Yeah. Think about all the time that you sacrificed not being with your family or missing some events because you had to work, and not only worked, but worked and did it for free because again, it didn't come out right.
Yeah.
And think about all the time, let's go back even further than that. Think about maybe the bad training you had, and you had no choice but to be perseverance and tell your wife or your spouse or your partner, it's going to work, don't worry, and you're fighting
Yeah.
about money.
Yeah.
And then let's go back even further than that. You were the time that you're thinking about going, but you didn't have the money, but you scraped it up, or you begged somebody to help train you, and it might not work. It may have worked, but you struggled along that way,
Yeah.
right?
The leaps of faith, the
So
many leaps of faith. Yeah.
so you're gonna go out there and charge cheap prices based on that. That's what you're worth. That was all worth it for that. You deserve more than that.
Yeah.
You need to
Right.
you need to believe that you came through that path, that heartbroken path, and you're worth it.
Yeah.
And by golly, like I said, and you should be passionate, you should be proud of where you come from and how you're getting better. And some of you might be listening, you might be going through that right now.
Yeah.
But don't give up, right?
That's
and that's what happens. You didn't give up on getting good. Why would you give up on becoming more valuable for yourself and building value?
That's right. You're listening to this as a listener or viewer because you take pride in what you're doing. You want to get paid more. That's why you want to get paid more, is because you take pride in what you do.
It's not always about the money, though, dude. Like, it's not always about the money.
Well, that's true. That's true. You reminded me that because this is your ideal customer. Your ideal customer. It's once again, Myke, comes back down to value. It's not about the money.
I'm confusing people listening. What do you mean by it's all about money? That's what you guys been practicing.
No, I see what you're saying though, because what you're saying is, you and I and our audience, we want the ideal customer. I think we can all say this. Whether the customer, I tend to like real picky people, you like to, people with certain kind of dents or whatever, and fill in the blank. But we can all agree that we want to work with people who really value us at a tremendous level for what we value us at.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not just about the money. That's also showing us some respect,
Let me tell you why it's not always about the money. Is because if it was about the money, you would care and you wouldn't want to lose any customer. You wouldn't matter, right? You drop your pants for a low ball customer, you would freaking go for the high customer. More likely,
and there are those guys.
And there are those guys, yeah. And we know a couple of those.
They are always asking us, "Oh, how do you? They don't pay that much. In my area, they won't pay that." But that, to those people, if they're all about the money and they're working the volume game, hey, it's a solid plan. Just be cheap and you'll be busy, right? It works, and there's no shame in that. Okay, but that's not who we're talking to, right? Because that same individual who just wants money, there are easier ways to make a lot of money, right? I mean, there's
look, and I don't struggle with lowball, myself, or whatever that is, but I do struggle when it comes to some price. Man, me and Keith had a conversation today back. We had a little one-on-one conversation, and he's the same. He says he still struggles with it. Like, well, he'll write a big ticket on, and he's like, well, I'll just give this part of this for free, because he's not going to go for this, But you gotta condition yourself, like, man, this is a high estimate, So you got to just put it, this is it, dude. Like, why are you trying to decide for the customer if that's expensive or not?
That's right.
So exactly what me and Keith were talking about today, it portrays into this. And so, yeah, I'm going to go next, right?
Yeah. Well, that's head trash. That's head trash, man. We all get it.
Yeah.
I deal with it daily. So go ahead, Myke.
I'm going to say this is probably, I was going to say this for the bottom of my list, but I'm going to say it now because I think it has a lot to do with your influence. And you can't really do this thought process alone. Thank gosh you have this podcast to listen to. But more importantly, create a tight circle with like-minded individuals, right? Tight circle means you don't need 10, 15, 35 people, right? You don't need friends like that many friends. You need a couple friends. They don't even have to be in your own industry. They can be in somewhere else. They can be maybe associates or friends, or lawyer, or somebody who's successful, not a shyster, but someone who's successful, making money It has nothing to do with about being successful, by the way. Okay. It's their mind and how they carry themselves, how people react to them, you know, and how they can help you influence to be better at what you do. That is probably some of the probably because that portrays, how you feel about somebody you respect. Why can't clients feel the same way about you as business owner, right? And we'll get to some more of those things, but honestly, if you can find some like-minded people who are in the same industry, that's even better. But
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be in the industry. You can really kind of go to dinner with some people that that you guys can feed off of each other, give some ideas.
Yeah.
Like I have friends who are doctors and lawyers and dentists.
Mhm.
They love my advice to help them, and I love their advice to they help me, right?
Yeah.
And they're very good people and whatnot, but it's not just that. It's not just who they are, it's how they conduct themselves as a person. So
Right.
if you can get into some of those things, and Joe, I consider you one of those people, right?
Thank you, Mike.
And
Thank you.
that just helps me stay focused. It because you can lose yourself as a person sometimes in
Yeah.
this world. You can get
Yeah.
influenced the wrong way.
Yes.
Who you watch, what you
Yeah.
watch on YouTube, whatever it is,
Yeah.
you could get really, really kind of deceptively lost. But if you can get that tight circle, like I was saying, I think that's going to help you better in your business to help you get that better client.
Yeah. Yeah. And not just yes men, right, Mike? It's people
Exactly.
who,
Exactly. Exactly.
support your success. There's a difference between being a yes man and being somebody who supports your success and encourages it, but also has a different point of view
Yeah.
and a different way to get there.
Well, and you guys, one of the most person that has that is the opposite of yes man is honestly is the no woman, which is my wife. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm joking, but
Yeah.
she is hardcore to convince,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
battle with her, debate meaning, okay? We go back and forth hardcore about my ideas or her ideas, and
Yeah.
and I need that, right? Because if I had someone else like that, I'd probably have a lot more mistakes ahead of time,
Yeah.
maybe costly mistakes,
Yeah.
but but I wouldn't say you still need to be creative, right? You still want to go take chances. I took a lot of chances, and honestly, Joe, I've failed at some of those chances, but
Yes.
I was pretty successful on most of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them. I wouldn't say most of them, but a lot of them. Okay.
Right.
So, but you can't be in that position and going, oh, if I raise my prices, man, I won't get that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, like chances, right? That's
Mhm.
not a chance. That's reality. That's any
Yeah.
business type to go up. But anyways, that's my that was one of mine.
Okay. Yeah. You're the circle of people that you keep. It's super powerful.
We'll have
So
a
choose
list, ladies and
choose
gentlemen. We'll
wisely.
we'll post
Yeah.
our list on here, on Joe's list, my list. You guys can you know look at that and remind yourself what we said and see if that fits you guys.
Yeah. And no pressure here, you guys, because we get a little intense on these, and it's exciting for us. We geek out on this stuff,
Yeah.
and um, you know, we don't expect you to do all of it. Um, it's something that these things have evolved over time of really, really trying to improve and grow, and at a level of intensity that is, it can be pressuring on ourselves too and overwhelming at times. So you got to take it all with a grain of salt too. But we're sharing our ideas. So,
Yep.
so my next one, Mike, is set your boundaries, and this ties into once again, that exchange, that interaction and relating with the person on the other end of the line or who's in front of us, a prospect. Um, and I kind of talked a little bit about that, about those like firing a warning shot, setting the boundaries of here's what I do. We got to make sure we're a good fit before we start talking price. Because I mean, you're talking about price right off the bat. Hey, slow down, you know. We're and they might hang up. I've been hung up on before. It's been a while, but I've been hung up on before. But that's fine. They're doing me a favor, But
That's right.
But that a lot of those times when they did that, it was usually because I introduced the price too early on. But so set your boundaries. What I mean by that is, one example of setting a boundary is with your pricing. Transparently and unapologetically communicate a justifiable price in relation to the damage at hand by use of a guide, your assessment guide, your pricing guide. You believe it and they will believe it. Confidence is key, man. And that's something it's taken me a long time to learn. I've learned a lot just even this year, man. And I've been doing this since the dark ages, man. I learned a lot this year because, as I mentioned to you last year around this time, I told you, Myke, I'm going to be up in the ante on the level of severity of work that I do, smashes and complex damage, and trying to get it to a genuinely a factory spec level. That's no easy task. I'm not a fast tech, man. I'm fast though, nonetheless, but you kind of have to be able to get those done in a day. You start in the morning and be done by sundown, and
Well, Joe, you're fast, but not as fast as me, Joe. But you are slow. You're very slow, but we can work on that.
All right, Trump. That's pretty good.
Dude,
yeah.
I had the same one too. Okay. Believe in yourself and your service. Right. And like you said, if you don't believe it, neither will your client. And none of this will work, Joe, if you don't believe in it, dude. None of it will.
Yeah.
None of what we say will work unless you believe it, dude.
That's right. That's right. And me bringing up the type of work I've been doing, the complex repairs and trying to get them done in a day's time or less. I brought that up because, Myke, because it's been intense and it's exciting as hell, dude. It's actually fun. It's made my job fun. It seems daunting. Some of our viewers, our audience, have seen some of my videos and me taking off a door in somebody's driveway. That's not easy. And I don't recommend that to everyone. You can break your back doing that shit, but I do it because I don't know, man, something happened to me. I guess I think I've just crossed a threshold to where maybe this is how I make it all tolerable,
No, I think, are you trying to prove a point? Are you trying to prove a point though, Joe? Like you can do this out there, and are you trying to prove a point to yourself? Like, like in a way, like, because you used to give me, before you did that, Joe, I can remember specifically a year and a half, maybe a year and a half ago, right? When we first started, you're like, I need to get a shot, man, because because I'm going to do insurance, and I'm going to do this and that. And what was that, dude? That was all head trash. And now look at you. You're freaking dissecting the car right in front of a driveway. You're taking insurance. You're getting approved. I mean, you're doing everything that you thought you couldn't do, but you are doing now in a driveway. As even as good, if not better, than anybody would in a shop.
Yeah, I'll put my work up against anyone. I don't care if they're in a shop, well lit or whatever. But that's another subject. But my point is, to answer your question, proving a point to myself and not using this desire to think that the grass is greener on the other side as a crutch. Because what happens when you do get to that other side? You realize, there's this or there's that. There's these. You can talk about that at length, Myke, the burden of having to be there in a shop, and I'm not saying there's one way or one way's right or one way's wrong. It's just that I wanted to build a solid clientele and a regular flow of these complex high ticket repairs regularly. And I'm not quite there yet, quite honestly. Because I know that when I get there regularly producing these types of repairs on a daily basis, every day, as opposed to just driving around doing door dings, it's at that point I know damn well I'll be able to justify having a shop, because I don't want to just have a shop. I want to have, I want to have it a certain way, and I won't get into that right now. But yeah, so as me not wanting to have a crutch, but also, because that's what's available to a high ticket PDR technician right now. What's more available is stuff that nobody else wants to do. And that's something that that the high ticket guys don't often say. They just don't. And I won't mention names or anything, but like a lot of guys don't talk about, they show, oh, here's what I made today, and here's what the numbers were. And that's great. That's awesome. I want to get there every day, but I don't get that every day. Because why? Because I get a lot of price shoppers, or not a lot, but the calls that I do get has a certain amount of price shoppers. And because maybe I have, let me backtrack. I have to fix what I can do before I can fix it what anybody else does, and I'm still working on that. And part of that is just having that intensity level turned up way high, being able to convince a prospect that, yes, the right thing to do is for me to take your door completely apart, take it off of the car in your driveway, have it completely gutted. And that is an art in itself. And I'll tell you, that is more of an art than PDR. Because
no, I know that. Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me. I've already talked to you about that, dude, that individual thing. So
working at that intensity level has taught me some things, and including how to set boundaries, as I said, and that's what this item is. And setting those boundaries can be as simple as, declaring the price and believing in it, and no matter what the outcome is going to be, but we don't just say the price. We don't just blurt it out. That's after demonstrating value and building rapport. If it's on a video, there's no way of building rapport. I mean, I guess you could by just your delivery of it all.
Well, I think you're building more trust than you are rapport.
Yes.
Right?
There you go.
Rapport is like something that you after the fact,
right,
that you've dealt with them and whatnot. So yeah. I get that.
There's ways to do that. And what were you going to say?
No, I'm saying very good points, dude. Very good
Thank
points.
Another example of setting your boundary would be, and this is something else I've learned in the intensity level that I've been working at this year, Myke. And relatively speaking, I'm not sitting here saying that I'm the god of dents or king of all dent repair. Just at my level, what challenges me, and constantly being in that position of where is this going to even work? And and failing too, quite frankly. But at that intensity level, I've learned that, as we get better at talking with people, we will start to understand when they are attempting to divert from our program. Let them know how you work. And if they don't like it, be okay with letting them go. That goes back to,
what do you mean how you work? What do you mean?
Well, that goes back to kind of like what we were talking about earlier about somebody trying to run the conversation. Like when you're on the phone with somebody and you get that person who is most likely a nacho, and they just want to know how much. And it's like, wait a minute, I know you want me to give you a price, and you've said this before, Myke, it would be irresponsible of me to just throw out a number on something that I either haven't seen yet, or maybe I saw, but I haven't seen it in person. We have to let them know our boundaries, and we do that in simple ways. It's like what we kind of touched on in one of the other items, like what we're saying is like, let's backtrack a little. Let's talk about the year, make, and model of your vehicle. What's going on with it? How did it happen? I'm kind of repeating myself now, but we set the tone.
Yeah.
In that conversation.
Yeah.
Again,
I get that. You are way more patient than I am on there. I don't have time for that. I actually try to identify them in 30 seconds if I'm going to be on the phone, if they're going to be with it or not.
Yeah. So you set your boundaries.
Oh, I do it real quick. Yeah. I am not a person that likes to be on the phone more than a minute if it's not going to lead to something bigger. right?
You have, and you get a lot of phone calls. You get a lot more phone calls than I
I
do.
don't get as many phone calls as I used to. I'm getting definitely a lot more text, but
Yeah.
but regardless, it's
Right.
not it's. But the point is that your time is valuable, my time is valuable, right? And I'm not saying that the client isn't worth it. It's not. They are. But you got 30 seconds to tell me if you're interested seriously or not, right? Otherwise, I'm gonna I don't really say, I give them a price almost right away to give them it's called the go away price.
Okay.
I'll have this little dent. How much is going to be? I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to tell you right now, my minimum cost for a 1-inch dent, not across any body lines or edges, starts at $175. If that's within your price range, go ahead and send me a photo. I'll be happy to take a look at it, give you an exact cost or general cost, what it's going to be based on my familiarity with the vehicle. If I'm not familiar with it, I'm going to give you a really hard estimate, and then we can go from there. How does that sound? Oh, okay. I was just calling. Okay, cool. All right, that sounds great. Okay, perfect. Send me some photos, right? If they send me photos, I know they're serious, right? Because now we can do business, right? And if it's a big dent again, I'm going to jump on the phone back with them again. But I get my point across really, really quick. And that's the point you and I were saying, that you and I are very different in different ways. You're methodical. It's like you're studying. Joe, it's like funny. I'm listening to you and you're studying the nacho, right? You're trying to see like how they think.
Right.
And me, I'm like, I know how you think, dude. Like, come on.
You call them out right away. Well,
Yeah.
you're setting boundaries, and that's what this discussion is about, right? Is
Right.
about us
How
sharing
far are your boundaries,
our
or
way.
how close
Yeah.
are they, right?
Right.
So
Right. No, and absolutely, man, absolutely. I don't get the same amount of volume of contacts as you do, or requests that you do either. So I can spend more time,
yeah,
and
that's true.
that has its other other side that is,
But you charge a lot more than me too, dude. So I mean, there's
do I
a
though?
benefit of
Do I?
that too.
I mean, you charge up there though, Myke. I mean, you've called me out on a few jobs, and your numbers were
Yeah,
right up
I'm
where they
not
need to
saying I'm
be.
a slouch for sure, dude. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, but in general, on average, you're
Yeah.
probably a third higher than I am on
Yeah.
average. And
Right.
not that I'm trying to lowball or anything.
Yeah.
It has to do with a lot of experience of writing up the estimates,
Yeah.
believing in that estimate, and getting that head trash out and saying this isn't up to you. It's up to the client to decide
Yeah.
if it's they want to do it or not.
Yeah.
But setting the ducks up in line,
Yeah.
to be able to
Mhm.
be in that position to do that. I mean, all these things that we're talking about is about that,
Yeah.
right? And come into play,
Yeah.
which brings me to another one,
Mhm.
if you don't
Sure.
mind, is
Absolutely.
create scripts to help you justify your cost, right?
Yeah.
Now I create scripts for my text messaging, but I
Mhm.
also read my text messages, and I read them and I read them and read them, and I know them and I know them and I know them and I know them. And then I go, and then when a client comes into the shop and I got to
Mhm.
justify why I'm paying that, I believe
Yes.
it.
Right.
I believe it.
Yeah.
And the customer does too.
Yes. You
And
polish,
so I
right?
polish it. I practice. I rehearse.
Yeah.
Call me an actor. I'm not acting to be deceiving. I'm acting to be confident.
Yeah.
There's a difference,
Yeah. I
right?
think that's like what they say, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And I don't think they
Uh,
mean necessarily be a phony baloney,
yeah.
but they mean, keep practicing it
Right.
until you do it, until you figure it
So it
out.
becomes natural to you.
Yeah.
Like we got approached recently from one of our accounts, right? And they said, "Look, Myke, we're selling the account." And they talked to actually they said it to my tech, and said, "Look,
Mhm.
we're selling out. We're having new ownership.
Mhm.
They bought 3 more other dealerships, and we obviously like you, Myke, or Tim, and like Dent Time servicing us, but we want, and at the other 3 stores, there's another company, there's 2 other companies, but we want one company doing everything. But we want one price, right,
Mhm.
for everything." And that cringes me, dude, because it's like it breaks everything that you and I fight for. And I know that's a whole different market. It is a whole different market,
Yes.
but it bothers me. You know what I mean? And
Oh yeah.
and what am I willing to sacrifice to gain 3 more accounts, but not go against my religion, my PDR religion? You see what I'm saying? Like, and that, so that is, I'm practicing and I'm preaching this. You're practicing, you're preaching this, but it's almost like it's the wholesale account is just, gosh, I'm very grateful to be in there. And this account I've served for almost 26 years. Okay.
Wow.
But so these are the things that I go, well, how much of this does this carry over to the accounts? And I don't think it carries everything over to it, because again, it's a different game, right? You're never going to get retail pricing out of wholesale market, right?
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of morale, I'm not morale, but a little, what do you call it? Morals, shall I say, to that. So that is something I'm fighting myself about, how this is going to go down, right? And they want a meeting with me in 2 weeks, just before Christmas. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But maybe we'll talk about it privately on the side, and come up with my own game plan. But
yeah.
So what was I saying there?
Well, good luck with that, first of all. And I've been in that position. It's never easy. And I know a lot of our audience has experienced that too. And it's kind of the way dealers go now with the all-in-one packages. But,
well,
often those don't work. There's ways to pivot,
Well, yeah. And I was going to say, I meant to say this. Don't think I'm not going to fall into the one price fits all category. I'll play ball with that. But at the same time, I have stipulations, right? There are stipulations. Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. I will play ball with you on that.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing these crush dents and these giant creases and these big smashes and whatnot. It is for a certain amount of price of car. So but I don't want to get into all that. But that's my stipulations when people approach me to that. So
and it started out as you were talking about, having a script, and so.
And that's another thing too, right, Joe? I mean, if you know what battle you're going into, you can prepare a script.
Yes.
Right? You can prepare, like, okay, if they say this, what am I going to say for that? If they say this, what am I say that? That's what lawyers do, right? When they go into deposition and they they prepare their witness, and they said, okay, if they cross-examine you this way, you're going to say this. If they say this, you're going to say this, right? So you have to do your homework, right? And you have to practice that, so you feel confident, and you're not just kind of like so yeah.
Would you, because here's the deal, Myke, that was one of my items also, which is working on your script. And you mentioned yours is more in relation to what you deal with often, and that is text message, right? But also you related it to dealing in person with somebody, particularly in a situation that is uncomfortable for anyone. It would be uncomfortable for anyone. And that is basically renegotiating the parameters of a business relationship, and whether you're going to be able to continue to work together again. Right. And I think the gist of it, like in my case, my item said, so we'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone here, since we're on the same subject. Mine was work on your phone script and your voicemail greeting, record your phone calls, so that you can hear yourself. You can hear your inflections, how you talk, how you respond in just run of the mill conversation, how you respond in high pressure situations, like what we talked about earlier, when a caller starts giving you some pushback.
Yeah.
And I noticed in listening to all of my conversations, I would start to get kind of balled up a little bit. My breathing pattern would change. And now when I feel like I'm healing, I'm fixing it, because by recording my conversations, which you had recommended to me and Keith Cosentino had recommended to a lot of us way back when, and recording it, you know, I get to see another side of myself from another perspective and how I deal with things. You get to also hear your own voice and
Right.
how it works and how it flows and how it doesn't, right?
Right.
Just like our videos, when we do our videos and we do our voiceover or we're speaking into into a selfie or whatever, you know, you get to hear yourself in an awkward state. You get to hear yourself in a not so confident state. You also get to hear yourself in a confident way, delivering what you do well, and what you're meant to do. And it, there's a big difference.
A huge difference. I mean, if you can study yourself and look out like as if you're out of body experience, you
Heck yeah.
can learn. Excuse me, you can learn a hell of a lot about yourself. And you're right, recording that helped a lot about what I was doing, right? And it helped me go for the throat, right? And not in necessarily aggressive,
Yeah.
bad way,
But
but
intentional.
like really kind of help guide that customer, understand their things, and like, okay, I was a little too aggressive right here. Well, I need to like relax a little bit here. I need to be a little bit more aggressive here. You know what I mean? So you start getting you start to understand, dissect what you can do better. And that's that's the whole point, right?
Absolutely.
Is do that.
Yeah.
So,
And you're also going to work on the part of your script, the actual wording, because just like you said, what you said, Myke, about rehearsing your I don't want to say your spiel, but your delivery,
okay, thank you. Yeah.
to keep it flowing, asking those very important questions, but also it's breaking the ice. When you ask the right customer, when you have the right customer in front of you, then that's what this whole episode is about, trying to get the customers that we want, to work with. When we ask them those questions, like it's something as simple as like, what's the year, make, and model of your vehicle? Or, how did it happen? And, things like that. They know that you're present, man. They know that you care. They know that you are a professional and you need to know this information so you can help them solve their problem. So
That is, and that is another important one, man. We are friggin' we saying a lot. I mean, we could have made this. We might make this a 2-part video, man, because this is, look at how we're already an hour and a half in here. I might have to split this up. All right,
it's up
Joe.
to you.
Here. No, we're gonna keep going. I'm not gonna split. I'm not gonna stop. I might split this podcast up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No worries.
Is it your turn or my turn? Well, you said yours was like mine.
That was
right?
one of mine. Yeah.
Okay.
It was the same thing. Yeah.
All right. How many you got left?
I have 5 left.
You have 5?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Why don't you go? Because I got 4.
I think I can blow through some of these too. This one, I was going to save it for last, but I think it's super crucial. Communicate your unique personal brand. I don't care who you are, what it is. If you're tall, short, fat, skinny, bald, hairy, I don't care what. You just be you in front of that camera for a little bit. And I'm talking to myself here too. You do good work. You do great work. You do a great, and I'm not just talking about PDR either. You deliver a service to somebody. You're serving a need. If you're serving another human's need, what more, like how much more admirable can you be? You're serving another human's need. Yes, they're paying you for it. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't feel guilty about it. But they need their dent fixed, So communicate how you do it. Communicate what you do, how you do it. Regularly video and photo document your work. We talk about this till the cows come home, regularly in every episode. But it's not just your work that you want to communicate to these people, but because before and afters are, let's face it, they're boring. You get a lot of them on a page. It's just boring. It's kind of like what we talked about Google, the Google listing, the photos you're putting. It should be you working, as in you doing what you do best. And I think that is key forgetting the type of customers that you want to work with. You got to show them you and how you do it, what you do.
I agree. I said the same thing. Build a consistent brand on all platforms. Be the same. Be consistent, right?
Yeah.
I haven't been posting very many live videos. No
Neither have I.
excuse there. I haven't made time, but I will be making more time, because here's the deal, fellas and ladies. Doing one good video doesn't cut it. Doing 2 good videos, 5 good videos doesn't cut it. You've been doing this for years. You should have years of good video, years of doing a door ding, over and over again, because your clients evolve, new ones, there's old ones, there's more. You want to continue to keep hitting those new ones, right?
Yes.
How many times have I done a door ding demonstration, right? It's always probably one of the most fascinating, easiest, to the point, very engaging videos you can do. Simple.
Yes.
I tell you, it's way more effective than watching you do a big dent, because that's like watching a flower grow, dude. After you get the initial big part out, it is boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boring.
Right.
Only part that, you know what they're doing? They're fast forwarding to the end, dude. That's what they're doing, dude. That's why TikTok and everything's so crazy. But you're right, Joe. Can be consistent, whether you're in the video or you're portraying. Have something, I would say, too, that makes you stand out.
Yeah, that's
You know
it.
what I mean?
Your unique personal brand, and
that's what it
got
is. Being yourself is the stamp of you being a brand, right? What does everyone say? Make fun of me. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name's Myke Toledo, right? I start off like that and identify. Hey, how you doing? My name is Myke Toledo. Okay.
Yeah.
I introduce myself right away. Right away. I don't let people guess at who I am. I tell people who I am. I'm branding myself, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you're the guy in the video I saw, right? You're in YouTube, or you're in the Instagram, and you're every time, man, it comes that people come to my shop, right?
Yeah.
And I know it's effective because they're recognizing it. So be consistent. Have a slogan. Have something that you're excited about doing, and stamp something, dude. That is you.
Make your mark. You know,
Let's
you
make
only
your
get
mark.
one life. You know. And again, we're talking to you guys who are interested in finding your ideal client. You know, I mean, there's people who, like I said before, they're happy doing what they're doing, and you know,
I think we nailed 2 of those in one shot, because that was one of my other ones. Do more live videos about who you are and your company is about. So I guess that would be considered a brand too as well. Okay, so we got those ones. I got 2 more left, Joe.
Okay,
go ahead.
I've got 4 more, so I'll go again. Be the authority and find your channel of speaking that your authority on the subject. Mine is, I'm a geek, man. I geek out like you wouldn't believe. Like on my videos, and now I'm making them briefer now. So because I used to go geek on a tangent level and make these long videos, and like you said earlier in one of yours, Myke, you don't, like, people don't watch that because, again, the viewers,
they watch it, but majority of them don't watch the whole thing, or they will skip to the good parts, shall I say, the most interesting parts.
You're right. And listen, I don't necessarily say not to make a long video, because I have long videos, as do you, Myke. And I do get people who become my customers, and they ended up going down the rabbit hole on my website or one of my social media pages, and they'll see what a nerd this guy is for this service, and they know they want to deal with me. So those long videos do help, but that's the long game. Whereas the short videos, if you can show as much as you can, you're going to be able to produce more, right? And then you're going to be able to do that every day.
I struggle that, dude. I struggle with, should I make this video longer or should I make it short? Should I make it in widescreen? Should I make it in TikTok form?
Yeah.
I struggle with that every time, dude. Right. And if I had a camera that could do both, I'd be in heaven, dude, which I think I found, but it's not quite there yet. But I didn't
yeah,
mean to cut you off though, Joe,
no,
but I'm just saying I
this is what we're talking about, man. You know, and
it's but I do feel like it's still important that you create long content,
mhm,
right? Because
yeah,
there are people who want to watch it, right?
right,
Create short content, once in a while long content, dude. And then you short, and then you're long. I'm not saying that's the perfect formula, but
right,
really when it comes down to the end of you guys, man, out there, Joe included, myself, do what you want to do, man. Who gives a crap? Going back to
absolutely.
our early conversation, if there
Mhm.
was no audience, would you be different or would you be the same?
That's right.
Right?
That's
That's
right.
how you know if you're doing it for the platform or you're doing it for yourself.
That's
If
true.
nobody was watching, if nobody gave a
Yeah,
crap, how would you still do your videos? Or how
that's
would you
true.
still market yourself?
Yeah, and that goes back to what I was this item here was, which is be the authority, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's safe to say that you and I, whether cameras are on us or not, when we're talking to somebody about PDR, we're a goddamn authority. You know, we are that. I mean, it's just ingrained in us at this point because of the levels of intensity, like I said, and those, like you mentioned earlier, Myke, those points of, doubt and self doubt and wondering if we're going to pay the bills next month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that brings out a side of you that you get pretty darn good at it. And but my channel is my personal way of communicating. Me being the authority is me being a geek, and like uh like going into dissecting what this dent is about and factory spec, all these little words and phrases that I've gotten borrowed from who knows where else, and just to better communicate my brand on the, like I said, I geek out on it. And
You know,
I
it's
find that consumers who really are willing, who value PDR at the highest level, tend to want somebody who's really
you know what,
technical.
well, you know what's funny though, Joe, is like everybody could have just as much success as I do on social media, except I just do it more. I outwork everybody.
Yes, you do.
I'm not gonna lie. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I outwork everybody.
Yeah.
I put a lot of videos, I think, eat, sleep, my media. I just outwork you.
Your channel that
That's
you
the
are,
difference between me and someone else, right?
you're relentless.
I do what I do, but it does have a cost, ladies and gentlemen. You out there who are watching, don't be jealous about that. Be happy because you probably have spent more family time. You probably have spent more value somewhere else that I didn't have. So
Yeah.
don't think this and that. Have balance, what I'm just basically trying to say. Okay.
Mm.
And I was telling Joe this off camera, off podcast, whatever this was. Having so many likes and followers doesn't mean crap, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't mean doo-doo. Matter of fact, I know people who in this industry hardly barely have any followers and they freaking do 3 times much more volume and work and cost and billing than I do. So
Yeah.
that is just fluff. Just want to let you guys know that. Okay. I might be more popular in the PDR industry as that, but doesn't mean I make more money than you, and it doesn't mean I'm more successful than you. It just means I work harder in that part of this of that area. Okay, that's all it means. But I don't
Yeah.
want you to think that I'm any better, and I would never tell you guys or anybody else that I'm any better than you, Joe, or any of my peers out there. I just love what I do, and I got a few followers, and that's about all it means. So
Mm.
that's it.
Right on.
But how you control and how you leverage it, different thing. So
Yeah. It's all about communicating to the people.
yeah.
Right?
Create a price guide that you believe in, or
Okay.
purchase one, or purchase one. Right.
That's right.
I can't tell you, Joe, you know that too. I mean, we all know that, right? You don't have a price guide, you are dead. You're done, dude. Like you're just good luck, man. Like good luck trying to don't bitch and complain that you can't get, what Joe's getting or what Paul Corden's getting, or are those people on Paul Corden's price guide, thing, or whatever all those people that they're getting. Well, that's because they're using a price guide. They're using a system of some sort. Everybody who's getting these big numbers are using a price guide of some sort, a software, something that helps them justify and sustain the cost that they deserve. So be on board with something like that. Have something, a quick cheat sheet, something that you can flip in front of the client and show them that you ain't making up numbers in midair, because you will be surprised if you could just record yourself talking to a customer without a price guide. It'll probably be the last time you ever do that, because you look like a total ding dong. Unless you're so good at making up a number, but you must somehow have a way of justifying a number that you can't show them. It's crazy how we've survived all these years, but we really struggled with the price of getting that price hardcore consistently.
Pulling prices out of thin air. And there's guys that do well without it, and we know some of them are our friends, and it's funny to hear them, with all due respect, to hear them explain their process, and like some guys are dent whisperers, and they'll touch the dent and they'll listen to it and sniff it, and it's going to be this much. another guy, a good friend of ours, he just tells it like it is, man, and I respect him for it, but he's not afraid to lose opportunities either, but he often gets it, he says, because his stream of clients or prospects are coming through to him, not through Google or internet advertising or social media, but rather through referrals. They know already that they want to deal with him, and that's our buddy Steve Brown. He's got his own way of doing things, and I learned from him as well.
I love Steve Brown, dude. Like that dude is just, every time I talk to him, he just, man, how come I didn't meet you, man, sooner, dude? What else you got, dude?
Okay. Establish your lines of communication with the customer. Literally, how you, your means of speaking to them, whether we're talking about the phone, email, text, social media, direct message. You and I have had this conversation, Myke. I've watched you while we both tag team a car and a hail car or whatever, and your phone just going off, dude, and direct messages through every channel of social media. I may be turning down business. I may be closing the door to opportunities, but I generally don't check my direct messages on my Instagram or any social media. I'm on Facebook. I don't even have my messenger notification set up or my messenger set up, so I don't even know half the time if people are trying to reach out to me. What I do is I put in my videos in every post, here's how to reach me. Go to denevo.com. It's that simple. Because if they go to denevo.com, they're gonna find the phone number, and they're gonna find not how to get to my social medias, but how to get to me. And there's buttons on there that they can request a quote.
You make it simple.
Make it simple for them. And so I basically make my lines of communication down to my phone, via verbal phone call, text, and email. And that's pretty much it. And I do get people who reach out to me on social media. 2 weeks later, if they're still interested, I'll check it. I will check them from time to time, but I don't want to drive myself insane juggling all these lines of communication.
That's right. I'm almost there, right there with you. I'm same kind of concept of what you're saying. Mine's build a website that supports your brand, what the brand is about, right? So if you did all the above, you did your videos, you got your social media in line, you got your Google business, right? Well, what's next? I mean, optimize your website, right? You have those videos that you've been working hard on on your
Yeah.
your website, right? You have blogs that back up and tell more of a story or in depth about that video, right? And that backlinks back to YouTube, and YouTube backlinks up back to your website. So all this is in a full circle, but it's sustaining and saying, okay, it's confirming that Joe is legit, dude. Like Joe he's saying the same stuff here. I can find his content that says the same here. I'm gonna go look at his reviews. Oh yeah, he's got some of those there. Is back to his website. But everything that you're talking about, and you have even more, because the website, there's extra content for the client to see if they choose to do that, right? Or there's quick content, like quick short videos that you have. Matter of fact, I need to add more of those to my site.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that on my to-do list.
Yeah.
You can have a drop-down menu and say, hey, you could actually, hey, here's some videos about our pricing, or here's videos how we do dents, and here's videos how we do this. I mean, it's really quick, concise ways to do it. And those menus could be either a blog or just a quick little video gallery of what you have. But
Right.
a website, having a website that justifies and shows your brand
Mhm.
and supports everything you've been doing and what we've been talking about is crucial. And
Yeah.
I think that's and it has to look good, has to function well, and by all means, like I said, make sure it does what you've been building your brand off of.
It's got to do its job. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'll be seeking out your services at some point too, Myke, with the website. Because I know mine is, I've got a lot of information on mine, and including, how to contact me, how to reach out and all that and get an estimate. But mine is a bit on the slow side because I do have so much going on there. And mine is just self-made on Squarespace. But I do recommend going to you, Myke, because I'm anxious to see Cole Fox's after it's done. I've seen your website, and it is quick, man. And that's very,
It's get well. I
very
mean,
good.
the crazy thing about it though, it always changes too. Like your site speed can change too. Just like a little off topic. So if you add a lot of photos and then you add photos that aren't optimized, though, that's going to hurt your speed, right? If you add a lot of heavy videos on there,
Mhm.
that can hurt your speed. So it just depends on what how much you're updating your site, but
Yeah,
you really have to make sure that you optimize it when you do update it. So those
yeah.
are some things. There's a quick website too, Joe. So if you ever want to downsize one of your photos, right? It's called gosh dang it, it's something JPEG. Gosh dang it, I was just talking.
It's a resizer.
Yeah, it's a resized JPEG. It's gosh, dang it.
Yeah.
something JPEG, but
An app.
what?
An
No,
app.
it's on the computer.
Okay.
It's on the gosh dang it, dude. Let me see if I can find
Yeah.
it here.
I know what you're talking about on my Mac anyway. I think if you're in a photo, you can edit. I think you would go into edit, right? And it
Oh,
says resize
yeah,
photo. And by
JPEG.
resize, we mean, it compresses it a little bit. You can compress it
I think it
really
says
down.
I think it's
Okay.
compressed JPEG.
Yeah, because you can compress it down to the point where it's not even visible. It's all pixelated. So you don't want to compress it too much, right, Myke? But you want to
Yeah,
compress it
you know,
enough that it's not going to take up too much memory.
yeah,
Uh,
compressedjpeg.com. So
okay.
and you can do compressed PNG as well. So if you have big PNGs, big JPEGs,
Uh,
uh, go there, do that. I have personally a Photoshop, so I actually optimize mine for web
okay.
from Photoshop, and then technically I'll bring it back to compressed JPEG real quick and just make sure it's really compressed. So
Okay. That's
um,
interesting because that may be why mine is slow, so don't take my advice because I resize mine in my Mac. There's a resizing feature on there.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. I just use compress, and it'll tell you how much it's shrinking, like 70%,
yeah.
60%.
Mhm.
The file size, and that's huge. I mean,
Yeah.
technically, if you have a 5,000 or 3,000, pixel thing, I mean, try to definitely don't be putting that on your site, man. Just like that. I mean, that's just way, way, way too big. And it just loads and loads and takes
Yeah.
tons of times. I mean,
Well,
one or two isn't that bad, but man, if you have like 6, 7, 15 of those, I
yeah.
mean, your site's almost dead.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, because for us, like, you know, like on mine, for example, I can go into my website and I have cookies, right?
Yeah.
For that website. And so it loads fast because it already has the information on my phone or on my computer, whatever I'm using. But for the person who's never been on your site, they don't have those cookies yet. It has to load first. And so if it's super slow, then it's gonna affect their experience, and they're gonna jump off.
That's right.
So
That's
I
right.
think those are important things to know. So
Joe, I hate to cut it short, but we've been on for 2 hours, and
yeah.
this looks like this can be a double header, dude.
Okay.
So I'll probably edit like, hey, this is gonna be
Yeah.
a blah blah blah. So
Yeah.
Joe,
Do you
this
want to
is.
continue the conversation and
Oh,
get
you
this
got
out?
how many more you got?
I have 2 more.
Okay, go for it, dude. Shoot.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This one, again, these kind of tie into what we've already said, but detach yourself from the outcome when you're dealing with a prospect. Again, this is mindset. Your job is not to get the work, quote unquote. Your job is not to get the work, man. Your job is to find out the actual needs of the prospect and then help them. That's our job, is to help them. Corey Kleinfeld, last time he was on the show, he reminded me that when I asked him, I forget the question exactly that I asked, but he said, hey, you got to help. You stop thinking of yourself. Start thinking of this person who's asking you for help, even if they are a nacho, even if they're just asking for uh, a low number.
That is true.
Our
That is
job
true.
at that point is just to help them. And that's, even if that means they're a better fit somewhere else.
That is
Yeah,
true. I believe that. It's kind of like when they say, oh, your website shouldn't be about Joe Garcia. It should be about how well Joe Garcia can help you, the client, right?
Mhm.
It's about that. That's what they want. They want you to feel, hey, I need some help. And it's not about, I don't want to come to your site and see how many awards you won or how popular you are
Oh
or
yeah,
how great of a tech. Yeah, I know. I want to see how capable you are, but most of all, I want to know. My main thing is that, can you help me?
how is this going to help me? And that
Yeah.
kind of almost contradicts what we said about communicating your unique personal brand, because that you're essentially saying, this is me, this is what I do, this is how I do it. But that's because you're in mind to the person.
Do you realize I say that a lot when I'm talking to? That's one of the things I make sure I'm talking to. I'm acting like they're here in front of me. Say, hey, my name is Myke Toledo. You got a dent, you got a scratch, give us a call. Let me show you a little bit of what we do, right?
Yeah.
I'm not boasting about how great I am. I never do that. I don't want it. All I know is, like, we can take care of you, right? They got a problem. We are capable of taking care of you.
Yeah, and that's a fine line too, because you can go easily the opposite, the wrong way, and start supplicating and start
I'm
looking
guilty.
needy, like, oh, because then that throws them off too, because then they think you're too
Yeah.
eager, right?
Yeah.
And I've done it all.
Or you egotistical.
Or you go that way. Yeah.
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 That, or you're just focused on your needs at that point.
That's right.
But yeah, you're here to help them, even if they're just looking for the lowest price. You're in that case, your job is not to, again, we're talking about the ideal customer here.
Yeah.
And part of getting the ideal customer means saying no to the wrong customer.
Right. Exactly.
Right. But we don't just say no. We help them by saying, look, this is what we do. I think you're better off going with who you mentioned, who is cheaper. You don't even have to say who, you don't have to literally refer them to a cheaper dent guy, which I've done too before, but you can let them decide. Right.
What's your last one?
Last one. Stop focusing on the competition. This kind of goes along with
I said, yeah.
yeah, this goes along with the, there's no going rate. What I said earlier, instead focus on your ideal customer and how you will serve them. I am so guilty of this, Myke. of I have obsessed over, oh, that,
Oh, I know you were.
low
I know.
life over there, and it's not just one, it's a lot of them,
No, I know.
many,
I
many.
know. I
But
know.
but the thing is you start focusing, you become so focused on your competition and the going rate that you're not focused on who you're serving.
That's right. And you're not, you lose focus. All of a sudden, you're not in business for yourself, man.
That's right.
No, all of a sudden, you're just not. That's why, you have a business. Again, look at the control we got right here, right? Like, look, our viewers can either listen to you or they can turn us off, right?
That's right.
But we're here venting, having our, even Keith calls it himself. He says this is the reason why he did all those podcasts, right? Was a way for him and Shane to vent out, right? To have therapy, basically. That's what you
Yeah,
and I do, right?
absolutely.
But a lot of people who relate to that podcast or relate to our podcast or any other PDR podcasts out there, there's people who relate to the conversation. And that is something that everyone has gone through, right? They've called or they checked out someone else's competition. They can measure themselves. Am I charging too high? Am I charging too low? All that, plays into your business, but it's good to check here and there. But I really don't see any good in it at all. Honestly, I'm trying to think about it, and maybe I'll retract what I just said. I don't think it's good at all. I don't think it's really good therapy at all to check what your clients are doing or your competition is doing, because it's not going to matter. It doesn't matter, dude.
Yeah.
So you're trying to tell me that it's going to influence you one way or the other if they're high or low?
Right.
That
They're
just
winning
tells
it.
you that you don't believe in your own service if you have to go watch what someone else is doing, dude.
Yeah. And of course, I'm speaking from a point of view, as are you. We're in markets that are very competitive. Southern California, man, I think that's where the dent guys started. I think, I don't know, but or as a service, and it started off as cheaper than the body shop, right? And that's kind of the general mentality of a lot of, I would say, more of the dent guys than anybody. So I had to stop focusing on that. And, I'm speaking from a place where my competition, and this is going to sound totally arrogant, maybe it is, but they're not on my level, man, not even close. And I've run with that. Like I present my service as though this is the only PDR there is. And that's hard to do, especially when you're slow.
I don't think
You
it's hard
slow
to
down.
do it at all anymore, man. I'd say
Right.
I don't look at my competition. I mean, rankings, I'll look at that. I'm not looking for the price though. I don't give a crap about the price. I'll look at rankings. Matter of fact, I need some more work to do on my own self, dude, because I have a lot of different things. You always have to pay attention to your business aspect of things, right? Your website, your Google My Business, how well you do the videos. Social media is good to stay consistent. I don't think it's as good as to worry about how many views you get. But if you're out in front of a certain amount of clients, they're going to check your social media. They're going to check your reviews specifically. They're going to check the rest of your social media.
Yeah.
I don't like to leave any stones unturned. Now, occasionally, since lately, it's one of the busiest years I've had. I haven't been as consistent as I wanted to be in certain aspects of my social media, but the main thing is I always do stay somewhat relevant. I make sure that I will post, at least it looks like I've been posting, keeping up to date on things. But yeah, I think I lost my track of thought again, dude. I'm getting old.
No, man, we just have a lot to talk about, dude.
But
It's
Myke,
been a good conversation.
I need some memory pills, dude.
No, man. I think like you said, the social media, going back to it, like I figured out like this is where I don't get, this is how because it's been on my mind, that what you said about being, or early in the conversation today, about it being overwhelming and social media, And I got a taste of it, as I said, with that one post that I did that, kind of went viral on at my scale. For me, it was viral. It was a lot of views. And I reminded myself that my social media is almost like my Instagram, my personal, my business Instagram. But personally for me, it's like a blog. It's not even really a way to advertise. It's a
No.
blog to show my unique personal brand, so that, like you said, people do find me on Insta, or
Do you know what Instagram is and TikTok? If you think about it this way, I think you'll have a different meaning of. Think about, and then we got to get off. We got to get going, Joe, because I got to get going. I've got to finish my thought.
Okay.
Do you know what really your YouTube and your Instagram and TikTok and think about it this way, you'll probably have a way better perspective of why you do things, right? And you just said it right there. It's your blog, but that's also not just your blog, right? It's your resume.
Yeah.
It's your resume, right? Here's my resume. Here's what I do. This is my qualification. These are my videos I've done. The type of repairs I've done. This is what I'm about. Yes, I have a personality. You can see I joke around here and there, but I don't joke around all the time. But I am professional. I'm capable. I'm responsible. I'm trustworthy. I'm all this, right? That's what your overall goal of those social media is about, right?
Yeah.
And that's your brand.
Right.
What type of brand do you want? You want a goofy brand? Do you want a professional brand? Do you want a different? I don't know the difference between really all of them, but I'm just saying, what type of brand do you want? But the brand you should be really focusing, really, guys, you're a funny brand or professional brand, is that it's a brand that you want a clientele, that type of high-end clientele, right? But so that's up to you about what type of resume you want to put out there, and that helps build your brand. And I think this was end up being a really good podcast about in depth about those things that you and I believe in, and possibly these suggestions that other people could probably maybe help them with their own.
Yes, it's been a great conversation, Myke. I appreciate it very much, and I've learned some things tonight, and I knew I would. And just hearing
back at you, dude.
And once again, it's about finding our ideal client, right? And again, like you said before, it's not about necessarily, there's no one ideal client. They're just people, or there is actually. I take that back. It doesn't have to be though like a rich person or a person with this kind of car or who lives in this area. It's people in your market, in your area that you service, who value what you have to offer at the highest level.
Yeah.
And that's not just, about price at that point. It's about respect and you loving what you do. Yes, I think it's possible to love what you do and to do your best work that way, and I think that's it. That's the name of the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. This is a 2-part program here, and I thought you guys would like it. Me and Joe, we go and pretty much, we're probably the deepest podcasters that just go way go, and we go until we're finished. So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast as much as we did. Let us know what you guys thought in the thoughts or comments, and support. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everybody.